Viewers, once again, this is your marriage counselor, Uncle John. Today, I'm happy to have beside me a young man by name Moses. He's going to read for you the questions that you people asked in different areas. Welcome.
Thank you, Uncle John, and it's a privilege to be hosted by you tonight. We've been watching you online. We have had so many feedback, so many questions. And just to kick off, we have a question that was asked by Nyambura. I believe, Nyambura, you're watching. And she asked two questions. First was, what is Dead Sea in marriage, when you talked about it in episode 6? And second is, what are the characteristics of Dead Sea?
Thank you very much, Nyambura. I'm happy to know that you are listening to my episodes. Dead Sea marriages, as I explained in the other episode, is like when you have water that is coming into a pool and the water is not coming out. That water will end up stinking. That water will end up producing smell. And that smell will only be taken out through vigorous means. The Dead Sea marriages are the marriages that are abusive. The Dead Sea marriages are marriages that are cold in their bedroom. There is no intimacy. The Dead Sea marriages are those marriages that have no communication. The spouse are not communicating to each other. Dead Sea marriages, you'll know that you are in a Dead Sea marriage when the marriage is abusive, when the marriage is ignorance, there is anger in marriage, and many other things there is no joy in marriage. That is what we mean by Dead Sea marriages. The other question
that was asked by Titus Okello. Titus Okello asked, is marriage a covenant or is it a contract?
Thank Okello for asking that question. But before I answer that question, there is part B of Nyambura that I have not answered. Dead Sea marriage is like when you have a garden, the marriage garden, and the marriage garden, instead of directing good water or rainwater into that garden, you direct the low sewer. And when you direct the low sewer, you expect to have positive answers or positive result. You cannot have marriage with good fruits of enjoyment and happiness the way God intended when you have directed your marriage to be invested by the low sewer.
True, that's very true. And now back to Okello's question. What is marriage? Is it a contract or is it a covenant?
Wow, that's a very good question. Many people think that marriages are contracts, that you have a contract between you and your spouse. But the marriages are defined in the unique book of God as a covenant. A covenant which is held by the three strands. I am here with a rope, and this rope is made up of three strands. 1, 2, 3. The book of Ecclesiastes talks about the three strands which cannot be easily broken. God had an intention of making marriages to be united by the rope of three strands. Solomon, who wrote this book, described it so well that a rope of three strands cannot easily be broken. One of the ropes belongs to the man. The other rope belongs to the woman. But the other rope belongs also to God, the creator and the initiator of marriage. The man and the woman have their relationship horizontally. But the triangle cannot be complete until the other lobe is brought in, and this lobe lands vertical. So when you have the vertical relationship and the horizontal relationship, that marriage is good and perfect.
Wow. As you have listened, Okello, that marriage is good and is perfect. It's firm, it's solid like a triangle with God, vertical and horizontal. It is man and woman. Thank you, Uncle John. I've learned also that. I didn't know about the three parts. Now I've learned about that. Now we have a question that was asked by Mweni. Mweni comes all the way from Kitui. Mweni in Kitui is asking a question, and the question is, what was God's intention from the beginning? I think she was there in episode 6 and 5 when you are talking about beginnings in marriages. So this question, what is God's intention? What was God's intention from the beginning?
Thank you, Mweni, wherever you are. I believe you listened to the answer. From the beginning, God had an intention. And he said in the book of Genesis that man should not live alone. That loneliness should be eliminated. God did not prepare or create another man to remove the loneliness. He created a female because he knew that the needs of man will not be met by another man. And he said that a man shall leave the family and join together with the wife to become one flesh. That one flesh is what we are talking about, that the joinery of that one flesh is a covenant. And that covenant is bound together by the lobe of 3 strands. I would also want to tell Mweni that when the marriage is in the Dead Sea, it means that they need to be pulled out. When a donkey falls into a hole, you don't pull it with a randa. You pull it with a lobe of 3 strands, which cannot be easily broken. That is what God uses. And this lobe, which is very strong because it involves God, man, and woman, and it cannot be broken easily, that is what God meant at the very beginning, that you will fall. He did not say that we shall not fall, or it is not in his provision. We find that we fall quite often. But when we fall, we involve God and he pulls us together out of the Dead Sea with the cord of 3 lobes.
Wow, that's interesting and also inspiring at the same time. I hope you are taking notes about the 3 strands. And what I'm also picking from what Uncle John is saying, with the 3 strands, just as he has held the rope, which is formed from the 3 strands, there's a lot of unity when it comes, there's a lot of strength when it comes to unity. Now, we have another question, Uncle John. This one is coming from Felix. Felix is just here in Nairobi, Donholm. Felix in Donholm wants to know, now that you spoke about marriage being a covenant, Felix asked, what is the unique power of the marriage covenant?
Thank you very much, Felix, and thank you for following us in these episodes. Surely there is power, and the power that God uses, it is called a pillar. Marriages have a pillar, and these marriages, the pillar of marriage was created by God himself. Every house has a pillar. It has a base, and God created that pillar for his own communication. That when the marriages are broken, and when marriages are not yoggering well, when marriages are not going straight forward, that pillar is the pillar that you use to climb forward. You climb forward in that pillar. Where do you climb forward? You climb forward to the loom, a loom which should be filled with treasures and beauties of God.
True.
The children will enjoy the fruits of your unity. Families will enjoy the fruits of your unity. That is the unique formula of God. When the marriages are broken and you do not use the mathematics of God, my friend Felix, marriages cannot stand.
Cannot stand indeed. You need those pillars, Felix, not only for you and your partner, but also, as Uncle John has said, your family and generations to come. Now, we have one last question that was asked by Phoebe. Phoebe's in Kasarani. Thank you, Phoebe, for subscribing to the channel. Now, Phoebe was asking, maybe you explain the nature of the covenant.
Thank you very much, Phoebe, and thank you very much because I have seen you have subscribed on this episode, and you are surely following us. The nature of the covenant. Let me explain it briefly, but it needs a mighty book to explain it. It is a very strong question. The nature of the covenant is simply the terms and condition of marriage. These terms and condition of marriage are instituted by God Himself. The preacher, when joining you, will announce and he'll ask you if you'll agree to be married by that man. Those are the terms, because it says, at the times of wealth and the times of poverty, you will not forgive, you will not discard the wedding, even when there is sickness. Those are the terms of the covenant. God Himself comes in and brings His covenant inside, His term of covenant inside. In the book of Matthew, for example, He says, you people who have been married, this is a sacred marriage. It is a holy matrimony. And you do not throw the things which are sacred to the dogs. It does not literally mean the pets that we keep at our houses. Those dogs are the demons. Now, I hope you understand. When I call the seminar, make sure you come, because there is much to be explained. I also would say that David, in the book of Psalms, explained sincerely about the issues of marriage. And he said that marriage is for the mature people. And marriage have secrets. You don't go pouring the secrets of your marriage to anybody. And this marriage are not given to anybody. They are only given to those who fear God. I have a question for the audience. The question that I would want to ask the audience tonight is, this marriage, which is a covenant, and it is bound together by the cord of 3 strands. I said that the man and the woman has their relationship horizontally. And the triangle is not complete until the vertical relationship to God is there. The question that I would want to ask tonight to whoever is listening to me, how do you strengthen your horizontal relationship? How do you maneuver and strengthen your relationship vertically with God? I'm sure this question will be answered in my next episode. Make sure you audience, you subscribe to Uncle John, your marriage counselor, to hear the answer to that question.
Thank you very much, Uncle John. It's truly a class, and wow, there's a lot to learn, there's a lot to know about marriages. I've been your host, Kuria, and for now, we call it a night. Goodbye.